Good morning. I'm John Edwards with Cowan Equipment Company, and I am meeting with John Vaughn, the fleet manager for Okaloosa County. John, thanks for allowing us to come in and have this conversation this morning.
Yeah, glad to do it for you, John.
John, tell us a little bit about who John Vaughn is and how long he's been in this industry.
I've been in fleet management for 29 years. I've worked 6 years for the city of Midland, Texas, starting low in their fleet and working my way up, moved to California, worked 6 years out there for Solano County as their fleet manager. I've been in Okaloosa County as fleet operations director for 17 years.
Wow, that's a rich history. Well, can I ask you a few questions about your fleet and some of the things that you go through when you're looking to pick new equipment and replace equipment?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Well, in today's day, with everything that's going on with regulations and everything else, what can you tell me the three factors are that are affecting your operations the most?
Well, keeping operating costs low would be probably at the top of my list, and the upfront cost of purchasing the new machines, keeping that low and competitive, would be probably second on the list, and third would just be dealing with all the government regulations and different things that we have that we didn't have 30 years ago when I started. Seems like we're more and more of those every day.
So you're facing a lot of the same regulations that the private contractor's facing?
Probably so.
Okay. Well, when you get ready to purchase equipment, what criteria do you use, and of those criteria, which ones are the most important to you?
Well, we're in the government business here, so governments usually look at low cost to get started, to the initial cost of the machine. We look at that probably primary. We also look at the availability of parts is very high on my list from the maintenance standpoint, and then just the reliability of the machine, and I guess I would also add how the operators like the machine.
Okay, well, based on those criteria, you talk about parts availability and being able to get service and things like that when you need it. What is your current uptime with the fleet that you're running?
The fleet we have, we're able to keep our fleet at around 98% of the time up.
That's incredible. So what's the average age of your fleet?
Probably in our off-road equipment, we're probably talking at from 10 to 15 years on average.
And what's your current fleet made of now? Give me an idea of some of the different types and brands and so forth of the fleet that you're running.
We have a real hodgepodge. We have many different brands in very many different classes. We have everything from a riding mower up to a bulldozer or a 60-ton crane or excavators, all kinds of equipment in our fleet.
Okay, and how do you keep your fleet maintained?
We maintain it ourselves. We have two in-house sites, one in Fort Walton Beach and one in Crestview, and we have about 12 mechanics working at those two sites. Wow!
So your guys are able to keep all that up. Do they get training on a regular basis?
Yes, most of our technicians are ASC certified. That helps. That helps, especially on the automotive and truck side, but on the off-road equipment also. And we do quite a bit of training when we can find it available through the different dealers and vendors that we deal with.
So what has that done with the criteria that you use to keep your fleet maintained? How do you keep up with that? How do you track that to know what provides value?
Well, we use a software called Fleet Focus, which is kind of an industry leader of software, and every transaction we do, parts purchase, shop labor, commercial repairs, all that, along with fueling costs, goes into the computer, and we know exactly what it costs us to run a machine, what it costs us to run a class of equipment, and we can use that to help us determine times for replacement and budget planning and billing and all kinds of different purposes.
Are you currently on a replacement schedule, or have you looked at doing replacement schedules?
Well, we were on a replacement schedule, but we've run on hard budget times here in the last 5 years or so, and we've postponed a lot of replacements, which has really increased the age of our fleet and made our maintenance costs really go a lot higher than we wanted it to. But we're hoping with a little bit better economy going on now that we can come back and begin or get back on our regular schedule.
Okay. Well, you guys are running several Volvo pieces of equipment right now. How have they done as far as meeting or exceeding your expectations and helping you accomplish the goals that you've set?
We've been well pleased with Volvo. We've been able to buy the machines usually at a reasonable price, and we've also been able to get parts when we need them. That's a really big thing to us because that's not always the way it is with some makes, but Volvo's been pretty dependable on getting us parts.
Well, John, thanks. If there was some last advice that you could give somebody that worked in a dealer organization about approaching governmental business, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would say just concentrate on the two things that I was mentioning there, the initial cost of the machine and the availability of parts, and do whatever you can in your network to assure that those things are where they need to be, and that way you can, that'll perpetuate your business with just being able to produce those two things, I think.
All righty. Well, John, I want to thank you for this interview, and again, I know our folks will want to thank you for the wisdom that you've shared with them today.
Okay, thank you, John.